Every field around the world has its own special jargon and a particular vocabulary that keeps evolving over time. The same holds true for the project control functions. Do you know, on daily basis, a project controller uses the term budget deviation about 9 times? Yes, I also missed noticing that. In the next 7 minutes, you will learn about the top 10 project control terms, which are frequently used by successful project controllers. These key terms will benefit you, even if you're a seasoned project controller. From the project controller's point of view, there is one term that is most critical than any other term. That term will basically decide how successful you are going to be in your project control career. I will talk about that term later in this video. So stay tuned. Now let's dive in and give your vocabulary the boost it deserves. The first one is baseline. A baseline is an original plan or estimate for a project's timeline, budget, scope, and goals. It is an important tracker to compare progress against and make adjustments. A baseline in project control is a clearly defined starting point for your project plan. It is a fixed reference point to measure and compare your project's progress against. This allows you to assess the performance of your project over time. It typically has 3 components that are schedule, cost, and scope. Often, these 3 baselines are separately monitored, controlled, and reported to ensure each is on track. When fully integrated, it may be referred to as a performance measurement baseline. This gives the project controller a baseline to help them work out if the project is spending along its desired path. The second one is schedule delay. Schedule delay means a projected or actual delay in the completion of tasks or activities, or project completion that does not result in a change to the original agreement scope of services, or total agreement price. Contractors, subcontractors, and owners all recognize the importance of time on construction projects. As a general rule, these parties will incur additional costs, or lose income if a project is late. Because delays can cost money, contracts typically define and limit the time to complete the work by establishing a specific number of days for the performance of the work, or by identifying a contractually required completion date. The third one is budget deviation. A budget deviation is a process whereby funds available for spending on a particular project are permitted to be spent in a manner that differs from the original budget, as approved by the agency. A budget variance is an accounting term that describes instances where actual costs are either higher or lower than the standard or projected costs. An unfavorable or negative budget variance is indicative of a budget shortfall, which may occur because revenues miss or costs come in higher than anticipated. Variances may occur for internal or external reasons, and include human error, poor expectations, and changing business or economic conditions. The fourth one is change management. Change management is one of the project control buzzwords. It is a project control plan that has the authority to approve or reject the changes on the project. The purpose of this management is to manage the change that occurs during the project according to the previously planned requirements and statements. If change management approves the new change in the project, only then the project manager will be able to modify the budget and the deadline to reflect the additional work. The fifth one is risk mitigation. At the beginning of the project, it is important to know the risk that surrounds the project because you can change your plan or can choose some other option to avoid the risk occurrence. Risk mitigation is a project control term which identifies the risk and reduces the risk impact. It is a risk reaction devising technique associated with menace to the project. If risks are not identified, then it can cause a failed project by taking so much time as you are not prepared for that. This risk mitigation, risk identifying term is of much use, as this idea reduces the possibility of occurring risk and also reduces the imprint of risk on the project. The sixth term is scope creep. It sounds terrifying, and for the project controller, it really is. Scope creep is when your project starts to exceed its initial scope, often due to factors beyond your control. Sometimes you realize more work is needed than you initially thought. Other times, you may run into unforeseen issues. But often, it's just stakeholders or clients requesting extensive changes or additional deliverables. You always want to address scope creeps as soon as possible. The next common term is activity. During the course of a project, a work or work package consists of an activity. Sometimes it is defined as the smallest part of a project. It identifies the timeline development, accurate estimating and many other aspects, by turning them into small tasks. Activity has a unique function, which is basically called sequencing. Along with work breakdown structure, it states two main processes, identification and documentation, of action to be performed for project completion. The eighth one is Earned Value Management, or EVM, which is an important way to measure a project's performance and progress. It is calculated based on the project scope, timeline, and cost. Earned Value Management integrates schedule, costs, and scope to measure project performance. Based on planned and actual values, EVM predicts the future and enables project managers to adjust accordingly. Another important terminology used in this context is Earned Value Analysis, or EVA. EVA is a quantitative technique used to evaluate project performance by computing schedule and cost variances. The ninth one is the Critical Path Method, or CPM. It is a modeling technique for scheduling a project. The Critical Path Method allows you to identify tasks that are necessary for project completion. The critical path in project management is the longest sequence of activities that must be finished on time to complete the entire project. It is a powerful but simple technique for analyzing, planning, and scheduling large, complex projects. In essence, the tool provides a means of determining which jobs or activities, of the many that comprise a project, are critical in their effect on total project time, and how best to schedule all jobs in the project in order to meet a target date at minimum cost. And the last one is the status report. Status reports deliver existing info on the project progress, changes, financial plan, possibility, and other key information. It also includes the completed tasks and tasks to be completed in future. It also includes a risk list and project duration. A status report is a detailed and recurring document that helps you, your stakeholders, and your internal team stay honest about your work, progress, budget, and issues. So, these are the top 10 project control terms, which are commonly used by project people. Over the years, just like the discipline itself, the lingo has also developed unique project control terms. However, there is one key term that I haven't talked about earlier, which is time management. Time management is the most important aspect of successful project control. If anything happens wrong with your project, time is the first and foremost parameter, which is going to be impacted. When a project is designed and delivered to the team for reference, then it consists of the time duration, which every team should follow. And if you understood these 10 terms correctly, and apply these concepts in your day-to-day project control activities, it will significantly help you to achieve your project success. The concepts and techniques you learned are applicable to all your projects and used by Fortune 500 firms. If you like this video, then hit the like button and let us know how you feel about us by leaving a comment in the below section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to see our latest videos when they come out. See you later, and bye for now.